Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Out of Clones podcast. Today I am here with my friends Ben
Oh yeah, and Elias is here too. So.
and Elias.
Okay.
Today,
Yeah.
Wait, is he our friend?
I don't know.
Oh.
We should have talked about this before we started. Okay,
Alright,
whatever.
alright.
Okay.
Today we will be deciding what is the worst and what is the best Star Wars movie. Now, a little bit of context, I am not a Star Wars expert, I'm not a geek, as some people would
He's
say.
only seen the prequels, which is sin. But,
I've seen the
whatever.
prequels, Episode 7, and Rogue One.
We'll fix this
In.
soon. Don't rage at us. But this is too entertaining to not do while he's still a noob.
I mean,
So
fair.
yeah.
Fair enough.
I will be the judge, as I should be. I don't know if that was the
Because
smartest
he's
idea
so
by us.
qualified.
But, we will start this now, I guess. So, we're gonna go from worst to best, and Elias and Ben will be the main debaters. As
I'm dead.
go. Who wants to start us off?
Okay. We'll go at
Okay.
the same time, Elias. Do you have it copy and paste, or do you have it copied?
Okay, I'll write it down.
So,
Okay.
Ben,
I can tolerate that.
for the people out there, because I'm not showing the spreadsheet, Elias has put The Last Jedi, Ben has put The Phantom Menace.
Okay, can I start
I
this
can
out?
see,
'Cause
I
I'm
can,
actually
I can see
kind
both
of...
arguments.
Okay.
I can see both arguments.
Okay. Phantom Menace is way worse than The Last Jedi, and I'll tell you why. First off, the only good part is Darth Maul. Liam Neeson's okay, but he's not a fantastic actor. Young Obi-Wan, his effects don't look fantastic. Young Anakin, terrible acting. Natalie Portman-Anakin relationship, absolutely horrendous. The entire plot is an absolute mess, and the only reason you understand it, Elias, is because you read the book afterwards.
So I agree with all those points in the Phantom Menace. Like I agree that Darth Maul is like the only fantastic part of the entire movie because the Phantom Menace, like, even if you like this as a Star Wars movie, you have to admit it's kind of a bad movie. The reason I put The
Mhm.
Last Jedi is just like no matter how many times I watch it, I fundamentally cannot enjoy it. Like,
Why?
for instance, like you say The Last Jedi is a good movie. I mean, it's definitely better than the Phantom Menace, but it's also poorly paced.
If it's better
like,
than
all
The
over
Phantom
place.
Menace, why is it your worst
Fine.
It's
movie?
better- Why would you put it before the...
And, okay,
That doesn't make
for
any
the
sense.
people out
As
there,
a movie, it is better than the Phantom Menace, but as a Star Wars movie, it is not.
now
Based on what
here's
Elias said alone,
my
I think you can make your
opinion,
choice.
my personal opinion. I have seen not the Last Jedi, but I was talking to Elias before we got into this, and I was saying probably my least favorite movie was either Attack of the Clones or The Phantom Menace. So on that, I will go with The Phantom Menace is the worst Star Wars movie.
Hold up.
Okay.
I didn't even give any points to why it is.
You had a minute to, and you were like, yeah, it's like a better... Phantom Menace is a worse movie, but... And then you didn't say anything.
Yeah, well, I'll explain.
Okay,
I
go
feel
ahead.
like things. The humor.
Go ahead.
The movie,
Humor?
it builds up tension, right? But then every time it introduces some really bad Disney joke, and it just ruins everything. Like the scene where Poe Dameron makes a "your mom" joke. It completely ruins the scene. Like, it takes all meaning out of it. Number two, Rose and that entire casino thing. What relevance did it have to the actual plot that we could have done without it? The
But
only
Phantom Menace.
good
You
part
didn't...
of that
you-
entire movie is Kylo Ren.
The
and that is it.
format didn't really work for the first one. I think Declan's alright. Let's just move on. Okay.
Like,
You know what? Let's
there's
stop
much
talking
more-
about The Last Jedi so harshly, because you haven't seen where I ranked it on my list. God damn it.
Well, all right.
Fine.
Let's say your
I'll
second
go
worst
after
movie,
you.
number 10. Elias has put The
Okay.
Phantom Menace, and Ben has put Attack of the Clones. Like
Keep
both
in
of you
mind,
do explain.
Declan, you can
Okay, yeah.
change your list whenever you want. So
That
if he
is
makes a
true.
good point here, you can change it.
So the Phantom
Okay.
Menace, I enjoy it more than The Last Jedi just because of Darth Maul. But all things considered, the entire movie feels like a documentary. Like, sure, it's fun when you watch it with the boys because you can make fun of it and stuff. Other than that, you have Jar Jar. It's like really torture. It's really painful. You don't know why. It feels like a documentary because you don't know why they're making decisions. It feels like you just watch something. They made a decision. You have to know. You just deal with it. You can't really know why. Like, what are they feeling? You can't tell at all. It just feels wooden. Like the way the dialogue, the way it was made, feels like a documentary. So that's why it's number 10 for me.
So, Elias, your argument is that The Phantom Menace is better than The Last Jedi. So, if I were to change my list and say have The Phantom Menace at 10, you want me to put Last Jedi at 11.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Alright.
it just
Okay.
feels more like a Star Wars movie,
Then
even
explain your
the
Attack of the
actual format of
Clones.
the movie. Really bad.
Okay. So, most of the things that are wrong with The Phantom Menace kind of translate to Attack of the Clone. Horrendous acting to the level where it's better to watch as a like comedy just because of how terrible the romance scenes are. So extraordinarily cringy that like it's hard to watch and not like giggle at yourself. Also, like there's almost no action. It's similar to the Phantom Menace, but with less of a great villain. If I'm being honest, I think that Count Dooku is way underused. The best part of Attack of the Clones is CGI Yoda, and even then, half the scenes he looks like melted gum, and it's truly a horrendous film. Not as bad as the Phantom Menace, for the sole reason that it actually has like Jedi stuff, and there are aspects of it that translate into one of the better movies in Star Wars that it's just necessary to watch. Also, I do like the part where he murders all the creatures or whatever, even though the lines were horrendous after that. So that's my opinion.
Fair enough.
So, question for
Okay.
you, Ben. Say I were to put the Phantom
Yeah.
Menace at 10. What would you like me to put at 11?
If you were to put Phantom Menace at 10, first off, I think you're wrong. If you were to put Phantom Menace at 10 instead of 11, you'd be slightly wrong, but it's okay. I would probably replace it with Attack of the Clones. I think that they're basically the same movie. The only thing you got to consider is that there's like there's two good scenes in Attack of the Clones, whereas Attack of the Phantom Menace,
There's
there's
one.
the Attack of the Phantom Menace.
The
In
Attack of the
Phantom Menace, there's so few good scenes. Like, if it's like 3-1, it's basically the same level of terribleness. It's just one has Darth Maul and one has Yoda. So
4
know.
at the current moment, because I don't know where I'm going to place The Last Jedi. And also, since I haven't seen, I can't really give my opinion on that. My second worst at this moment will be Attack of the Clones. So, for who you don't know, this is Will. He joined late because he's a lazy bitch. Anyways,
I was setting something up. Calm your toes.
number 9.
Okay, right.
Rogue One? What?
Yep.
Okay,
Dude,
okay.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, that's
One?
illegal.
I think it.
Illegal. That is illegal.
How did you like Solo more than Rogue One?
For number 9, Ben or Will and Elias put Solo. Ben, as you hear, has put Rogue One. Ben, explain why you think Rogue
I
One
will
is
go
number
first
9.
because I have a good goddamn reason. I rewatched it recently and I was shocked because everyone left the cinema thinking it was a great film, but that's only because the conclusion is great. The first 2 parts of the movie, the acting isn't that great. You don't care about the characters. There's that stupid scene about like the monster tries to suck the truth out of him or some shit, and then there's like the whole stupid idea like I'm the elder character, so I'm just gonna sit in this crashing building. Like what are you doing? You can run. You're capable of so many things. Not to mention
Robotic
that like
legs.
He's crippled.
dude, Darth
Ben.
Maul has robotic legs. He can run
Crippled.
way faster.
Yeah, but like,
Don't interrupt me,
Oh,
Elias. I'm
actually,
not done. God
Alright.
damn it. Okay, and then Solo as like the alternative option here. It is enjoyable the whole way through. Lando Calrissian, the acting isn't perfect, but you can enjoy it. At least for the first 2 halves, you actually care about the characters. Like, it's not so terrible. If you rewatch it, you will see that the story is well thought through. It brings like a whole story out of one line in the fourth movie, whatever it's called. It's just like it's significantly worse just because the first 2 halves are from a terrible movie.
Okay, so
wait, let me
Solo?
just say something. Hey, wait, okay, wait. If you're saying the acting in Rogue One is bad, the acting in Solo is so much worse. Like,
How?
it's so unbelievably bad. He just is.
What-
Wait, the person, I don't even know who plays Han Solo, but he's
Wasn't
just
I
not
much.
convincing. Like, it doesn't.
How?
Like, it doesn't come. It's not.
just-
I don't know. For me, it's just.
He's not trying to be a caricature of Han Solo. He's trying to be young Han Solo, naive Han Solo. He's a different character in the way that he hasn't lived through years of scavenging. You can't look at
Okay.
him as though he's Han Solo. You can look at him as though he's young Han Solo.
So can I just say, we've come to the point where I actually like all the movies we're talking about now. So,
Same.
Just saying, I like Solo.
Oh yeah, no.
Solo
I
to
like
me-
all of them, but like some are worse than others. I'm saying.
Yeah. So basically, Solo for me, it's a good movie. Yeah, as Ben said, it is enjoyable, but for me, it's just not that special compared to the rest of the movies. It's more like a eye candy for Clone Wars fans and stuff. Like that's basically it. I personally think the acting was pretty good, but like characters like Kira and like L8, that stupid robot, aren't interesting at all. The scene where Darth Maul appears in the end, that entire
Hate that. I
I
hate
don't know.
that.
That was kind of
That was
kind of
so
pointless and
stupid.
useless. It
Take-
was
okay,
it's
every
close to
Star Wars
Darth Maul.
film.
It's obvious that they're trying to set up a sequel, which we know it's not going to happen
Yeah,
because it was
that's not gonna happen.
marketed poorly. It was marketed like really bad. No matter how much you like the film, first trailer came out 3 or 4 months before the actual movie. So like,
Okay, could I say a rebuttal to that? Here's my personal opinion. I think you could take 1 or 2 scenes out of every Star Wars movie and make it perfect. So hypothetically, if we were to do that, you take the Darth Maul scene out of Solo, and then you take out the first 2/3 of Rogue One. That's not even comparable. Anyways, that's
I didn't
you
find
guys can
the
say anything
first
if you want.
2/3 of Rogue One as unenjoyable. I actually liked it.
It's
Yeah, I actually
enjoyable.
liked that. I
So
actually
it's a
liked
But
it's
it's
a
not
war
a quality
movie.
movie.
It's a war movie.
Like compared to the previous
not-
movies, it's not all that different. My
Okay.
previous movie, it's not your previous movie.
I think
Yeah.
my number 9, I think it has to be. I think I'm gonna say Solo. I think I am gonna say Solo. And I think, okay, just to
Oh.
context, it's
Forget-
not like all these Star Wars movies are good. It's just what we like the least. If someone, I bet you say like Ben, if someone said, "Hey, can we watch Rogue One?" You're not gonna say no. That movie's awful.
Yeah, I like that movie.
Yeah.
It's just not a great movie.
So let's do number 8.
It was tough. It took me
So
a good
so far, Elias has put The Rise of Skywalker. Ben has put Solo now just above Rogue One,
Do I
and
put?
Will
I'm.
is deciding what
Okay,
he will
yeah,
put.
no, I'm doing.
And Will decides to put The Rise of Skywalker as well.
Oh, okay.
So it's Rise of
Yet again,
Skywalker
here we go.
I
versus
think we
is
should go
Solo.
first. We should go first.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I dare you.
It's not a bad movie by any means. Like there are definitely some really enjoyable parts, like the end scene where like whole Jedi voices and stuff.
Kylo
I
Ren
feel like,
and Rey make it. No, I'm joking.
Shut up.
I feel like it corrected many things the Last Jedi like put in. At the end, as a
Yes.
finale to the Skywalker saga, let's be honest here, it was kind of underwhelming. It just kind of felt like fan service to me. It didn't feel like anything special or original. And seeing like all the new stuff, like what it could have been. I don't know if you saw all the plans for like that Duel of the Fates movie, the original version. It just seemed so much better. And I feel like yes, there were definitely some satisfying parts. In the end, didn't really fix much for me. Like it semi redeemed the character of Rey for me, but not as much for me to actually like her. It just felt very underwhelming for a finale, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Frick, I was gonna say
I
something
put
else, but I
Solo
just completely
here.
forgot.
I put Solo here because basically the reasons they were saying before. It's a mediocre film, and that's not a Star Wars film. Like it doesn't have the qualities of a Star Wars film. My argument for you to move the spot to where I put it is just saying like I think that Rise of the Skywalker is significantly like it's a good film. You enjoy it the whole way through and it keeps you engaged, and unlike Solo, it has significant narrative meaning. And as a conclusion, that's about as epic a conclusion as Episode 6, if you ask me, because it's the ultimate battle
I
against
know.
Palpatine.
You didn't
so
notice. We put Rise of
you
Skywalker
said it was an
over
underwhelming
Solo.
conclusion. It's literally the opposite. The conclusion is the
Oh,
best
really?
part if we're saying anything.
Compared to the saga ending of Return of the Jedi, it's considerably
It's
much
the
worse.
same thing, but
It's not.
way more impactful because it has every generation instead of just only the 3. Like you got prequel references. You got like the defeating of Palpatine had so much more behind it. It was so much more meaningful.
That's the thing.
It felt like all of the Sith versus all of the Jedi. It wasn't just Luke, his father, and a third. It was
but hold on. But don't you think adding Palpatine was kind of really lazy? Like saying
I'll get to that,
since
Elias.
they killed off their own.
I still haven't
Can I
talked
ask a
about The
question
Last
real
Jedi.
quick?
When I
I-
get
They
there, I'll
gave no
talk about that.
explanation of where he came from. Like
Elias,
Dude,
can I
I don't
ask you a
like the
question?
inclusion of Palpatine.
what?
So Ben made up a great point that like Rise of Skywalker you can enjoy the whole way through. Is that correct?
Yes.
So just to let you, so Ben says you obviously don't like parts of Solo, as like obviously that's why you put it lower than what you have right now. So, which makes me believe that like if we're debating between a movie that you can enjoy the whole way through and Solo, which you can enjoy parts of, I say Solo gets the the bottom. You know what I mean?
I second that.
Mhm.
But then
Wait,
I
but
see
that's
what your point
contradicting
is,
what you
but-
put
Let's
down.
go.
so then I'll decide then I'll like decide and go back on which ones is the worst. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I'll edit
Like,
my list. So
Thing,
I have again also put Solo at 8. This is just a rough draft. It's a rough draft.
yeah, you haven't seen all the movies yet. It's understandable.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Yeah. Oh, I remember I was gonna say it real quick. It was like 2 seconds. The reason I put Rise of Skywalker where it is, it's like a good movie, but all the other Star Wars movies are better than it.
I agree.
That adds to my point. I'm saying that Solo's worse,
Yeah.
and
which
you
would
agree
be
with
down.
that.
Yes, that's why
Yeah,
we put
Solo
wait,
is worse than Rise of Skywalker.
So by
Yeah, Solo
that
would be
logic, if
down.
you're following my list, then I'm correct.
Yes and
Because
no.
you're saying
Ben.
that it's a better movie
But
than
no,
Ben,
Solo.
yeah,
yes
no,
and
we're
no.
both technically right in your
Whatever,
logic.
whatever. Okay, he'll
Solo's
edit
both
it. It
below
doesn't matter.
Rise of
Alright.
Skywalker in all of our lists.
All right.
Okay.
So
Yeah, Solo
Number
is
7.
below Rise of Skywalker.
yeah.
I know.
Oh, frick, I need to get on phone again. Oh, frick, what was I gonna put for this? I can't remember. Also, I didn't
Yeah. No. By the
even
way, Ben, when
frickin'
you said
put
like
anything
Rise
down,
of
so-
Skywalker is better than Solo, Solo is like say I put Rise of Skywalker at 8. Solo would be
Yeah.
worse than Rise of Skywalker. So Elias and Will seems to
Oh, we
have.
have the same exact list.
So Elias and
We just
Will
have-
seems to copycat each other
I'm
and have
kinda
the
worried
same
with which ones
exact
are left.
list, ladies and gentlemen, as Ben has put Rise of Skywalker.
I'm actually pretty shocked at this.
Now I assume
Yeah.
since
Really?
we have told Ben has told he prefers Rise of Skywalker over Solo. Ben, what do you think? Is it better than worse than Force Awakens? Like, what do you say?
Well, I could just reiterate to what they were saying. It's way better than Solo for all the clearest reasons. We're basically making the same list. It's just that I put Rogue One in the middle because I think Rogue One is not that great of a film. I think that Rise of Skywalker is great. I'm shocked by where you put Force Awakens because I actually really enjoyed that. I don't see why it would be on the lower end
Actually,
of the
wait,
list.
I'm making an edit to my list. Psych. I'm making an edit to my list.
You just realized another movie.
I-
So okay, I'm gonna make a quick
Yeah,
edit
I
to the
forgot
list.
about this
I'm gonna
movie.
put the Rise of Skywalker at 8, since like you guys have said it would be better than Solo.
Yeah, I think that makes
So yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
put that there. And
Okay,
Will has
so-
now put
I
Attack
changed
of the
it to
Clones.
Attack of the Clones.
Oh wow, yeah.
Okay.
Wait, Elias, what the fuck? Okay, whatever.
I low-key
whatever.
forgot about.
man.
I low-key forgot Attack of the Clones existed, and then I was like, wait
Jesus
a
Christ,
second.
I just realized that wasn't on Elias's list, and I'm kind of scared now.
Yeah, when
Wait,
Elias,
Elias,
explain
Attack of the
yourself
Clones
of
is-
why The Force Awakens is
Attack of the Clones
Worse.
better be.
than like Attack of the Clones, or yeah.
I actually really loved The Force Awakens. Really good movie. Like all the characters, like thought were really well made, and it's just an enjoyable movie. Like when I first saw it, only Star Wars movie I saw after that for about like 6 times in a row was The Force Awakens. It is a good movie, and it is an enjoyable film to watch.
So why is it this low?
However,
It
the
is.
re-
It's in the
So
bottom
why-
5.
well, I'm giving you an explanation. Hold on. For me, it's just a carbon like copy or just a recast of A New Hope, and I can't put it any higher, in my opinion. Like
Yeah, it makes
So
sense.
you.
enjoyed,
So you.
I,
would-
en-
You're
I
making me
enjoy,
very mad right now. I'm
I,
gonna be
I
honest.
enjoy the other. I personally enjoy the other 6 while watching more than The Force Awakens. I do love The Force Awakens. I don't
Yeah.
have anything against it except the fact that it's a recast of A New Hope. I enjoy the other 6 more than The Force
So
Awakens.
you would
Okay,
agree that
yeah.
Attack of the
Elias.
Clones is better
I
than
don't-
The Force Awakens. You would agree that.
Yeah, you look out there.
All right.
I
I'm
put it.
gonna be honest. I just want to say, knowing what I'm gonna put next, I'm kind of really mad because I know where the argument's gonna go, and you're contradicting yourself right now. So go
Okay.
ahead.
I'm not contradicting
Yes,
myself
you'll
at all.
see.
Will,
You'll see.
you were about to say something to Elias, so go ahead.
Me?
Yeah.
I don't even remember what I was gonna say, but the reason I put this is where it was from, because I don't know, it just like it wasn't like I don't know, it just wasn't that very memorable of a movie, even though it was still good. Like it's like it's like a decent movie, but it's not like anything special, you know.
That is
At least
why,
for me, it's not.
personally for me, Attack of the Clones is so low, just because I don't honestly remember most of it. From like 3 movies, it was the
It's-
least memorable. Like the 5
The
You guys
movies.
are
most
making good
memorable
points.
part of it is the cringy acting when he says, "I don't like sand." Sand is so sandy and rough
No,
and
the most
coarse.
memorable part was Padme.
Fair enough.
Guys.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I'm actually considering
Okay.
switching Attack of the Clones and Force Awakens now.
Gosh
Dang.
dang it, dude.
Okay, let's move on.
I'm not switching it. I'm not switching it, but like
Number
do
6.
bring up some good points.
Ben has put The Last Jedi, Elias has put Attack of the Clones, and Will has finally put Rogue One. Why do I say
spelled
finally?
Rogue
I
One
don't know. So
wrong.
all three of you have a different
I
answer.
really don't care if I spelled anything wrong.
So all three of you have a different answer.
Alright, I'll go first. Alright, Rogue One. Good movie. Solid movie. Thoroughly enjoyed it while watching at the theaters. So basically why I put it there, it was a good movie, and I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. But I really liked how it connected connected to how they got the Death Star plans. I was always like freaking wondering about that. Now I finally have an answer. I really liked that, but I don't know. I just feel like The Last Jedi had more meaning inside of it. It had more like depth and importance. Like later on, you know what I'm saying?
You're saying
that-
the
Yeah,
Rogue
I'm
One
actually
had
kind of
more.
confused.
Would that make
You're-
The
you're-
Last Jedi
'Cause, like,
better
in-
than Rogue One?
I'm kind of confused.
I meant no. I meant The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Sorry, Force Awakens.
Okay. First off, Attack of the Clone and Rogue One, I put those both lower because, like I said, Rogue One, not the first two parts are a bad movie, and people left the cinema thinking that was a great movie because the conclusion was great, and that's not true. It's just the conclusion was great. I concede to that, but the first two parts I can't stand. Attack of the Clones, it's not a good movie. Elias, I frankly don't understand that logic. The acting is terrible. Whatever. There's no significant part of it except for Sand and Boba Fett, or Jango Fett. Sorry.
Can I
And
just
so, no, dude.
And Ben, explain
Okay.
why The Last Jedi is.
You know what? Okay. Everybody gives The Last Jedi shit. I like The Last Jedi a lot. You wanna know why? Because Elias was just talking about how Force Awakens did the Episode 4 formula. And you know what? The Last Jedi didn't, and everyone was mad about it. And you know what I say to that? It was really well done. Really well done. You wanna know why? First off, they made Rey. She had no parents. That is so great. It gives the Force mystic fullness, and then later they redid it in Rise of Skywalker, which I put lower, and made her the granddaughter of Padme. That's such a retarded way to change it.
Okay.
I hate that. And then the thing where Luke Ghost fights like all those giant destroyers. It's so cool. Everything about it. The way that Luke was like characterized. And you know what? Everyone hates that casino scene. And I have one response to that. It is something we've never seen in the movies. A gray area. Finally, there's something that has two sides. I don't like Rose as a character, I will admit. I do like Finn as a character, but he wasn't done perfectly. But I also think that Poe Dameron was done justice. He's meant to be arrogant. He had a huge win in Force Awakens, which led to him to become more arrogant. And then in the next movie, he learned to be more humble and be more careful. And that he's not the only one making up a plan. Also, I love the Kylo to Rey shit, because, like, if you look at it, it's the opposite of what happened in the original trilogy. Darth Vader was tortured by the light side, and now Kylo Ren, vice versa. Luke is tortured by the dark side because Darth Vader wanted him to join him, whereas Kylo Ren is tortured by the light side. This is such a unique and interesting dynamic, and the idea that it's a terrible movie because Rose existed is absolutely ignorant, and that's like saying that the first movie is bad because it didn't reference the prequels. Like, it's just not even...
So
I just hate the fact that it's hated on.
So Ben, I'm gonna say something real quick. I think the reason why people hate it, like you said, the change and like the casino scene and that stuff. I think because people don't like change and they didn't want the change, so I think that's why they
which is
dislike.
dumb.
People
It's
don't like
dumb.
change
They should-
normally.
Yeah, and then people... I'm using Elias as an example, but he hasn't actually said this yet. But people say, I hate Force Awakens because it's exactly the same as the original trilogy. And then they say, I hate The Last Jedi because it's nothing like it's not like a Star Wars movie. And I'm like, What do you want? What do you want? If you hate both movies for different reason, the opposite reason, like they corrected, and you still hate it, and I don't know why.
I don't hate it because it's different from anything else. I actually appreciate they actually tried something different. The reason I don't like it is not because of Rose. That was a big factor. It's just like I find everything in it boring. Like there's I agree that Poe and Kylo Ren's parts the only enjoyable part for me. I just like there's so much stuff that just doesn't make any sense to me. Just don't find it
Can I say
enjoyable.
something? Okay, one of the reasons that so this so you know the scene where like they run through the market on the horses?
Mm-hmm.
Have you like ever watched that scene back?
No, like I know that there are cringy moments, but like
No,
that's
no,
it's
it's
not
not the
fair
fact
to
that it's
judge.
cringy. No. Listen to me. It's not the fact that it's cringy. Have you looked at the CGI? The CGI looks like it's from like the 1950s. It's horrible.
No, it doesn't.
Have you seen
It's
it?
fur
Yeah,
animation. It
yes, it
looks
does.
great.
No.
Really.
The background.
How is
Have
that?
you looked at the background of when they're running through? It literally, you can clearly tell it's a green screen.
Oh no,
like-
they use
it's
green
literally
screens in
the
Star
worst.
Wars?
No,
Oh
no,
god, that's a
no,
travesty.
no.
Oh
No,
Jesus.
They usually do so good of a job of using like special effects. Like that's like one of the things that made them so big in the beginning. But like it just doesn't fit on with the Star Wars brand that they have like such bad CGI. Like
Okay, but does that
doesn't
make
look
it
real
the
Modern
at all.
day.
worst?
Modern day.
Does
We're
that
not
make
counting
it
the
the
prequels.
worst Star Wars movie of all time because there's one scene with bad backgrounds? Are you fucking You guys
No,
put it at worst.
that's not the reason I put it worst.
Okay, then tell me
I
why the
did
reason
not
is instead of talking about the
I
green
did not
screen.
enjoy watching it in the theater. I just
Why?
didn't think it was a good movie when I first
Why?
Yeah,
watched
here's
it.
the thing. When the first like 10 minutes of the movie, honestly, I couldn't tell if it was a branded commercial or a Star Wars movie. Again, those bombers. What was
Don't
that?
judge it on the first 10 minutes. Not
Not
to
judging it
mention,
entirely. I'm giving you a reason. That's 10 minutes is one of them. The bombers. What was that? What kind of logic is that? Gravitate. There's no gravity in space. Why are the bombers going slow? How did they somehow manage to take out a giant military thing with some bomber? Do
okay,
anything.
okay. May I
Also,
interrupt?
the
Because that makes
humor,
me
the
very
your
mad.
mom joke is just really bad. Why
Okay,
would you
you
put that in
cited
Star
that.
Wars? They're trying to make it like Marvel, and Star Wars is not Marvel. They're completely different things.
Okay, okay. You keep citing that one joke, the your mama joke. It's not meant to make you haha laugh. It's meant to show how immature Poe Dameron is. Like it's not it's characterizing it. You see it as a joke, but it's clear that they're not writing that to make the audience laugh. They're writing that to make the audience go like, "Oh my god." And that's exactly the reaction you have, and yet you don't see it as a choice, you see it as a mistake. And I don't understand that. Also, having the ships go slow in Star Wars is not new to the branding, and dropping bombs, gravity still exists in space, it's just slow. Like if
Depends,
you
Ben.
dropped a bomb and it was already has momentum, then it's gonna keep dropping.
Well,
Am I
yes and
wrong?
no, Ben. With gravity, it's like if it's
Okay,
close
let's
to
say I
something.
pushed a ball down in space. Would it keep going down or would it just stop?
That's a good point. I didn't
Well,
think it
because
like
here's the
think
thing,
of it
Ben.
like
You know, like
that.
when you're floating in space, how do you move? You try to like do like the like flailing your arms and that stuff.
Okay, how about this?
Doesn't
It
work.
doesn't even matter if it works IRL, because as long as there's an ingrown logic, it doesn't quite matter. So there have been bombers in Star Wars before, in the original trilogy
Okay.
and in the prequel trilogy. In this, prequel. I said the right thing.
Explain to me the Luke. How did Luke go from being the most optimistic people on Earth, went up to his father, Darth Vader, killed so many people, the Iron Fist the Empire, and said, "There's good in you." Then he faces up his emo like nephew, only killed what, like less than 20 people, and is like literally the biggest whiny like ever.
Okay,
Suddenly says, "There's no hope in
Elias.
you." Like the most
Elias, may I?
pessimistic, like his character does not match with that of the original trilogy at all. Understand he's aged and he's gotten older, and it's an entirely different time period. How did all of a sudden did he lose his optimism? There was no explanation.
Okay, my turn. Okay, so first of all, he's always been whiny. He's been whiny his entire thing. Bro, He
I'm
was
talking
like,
about Luke
"Oh,
being
why can't I
whiny.
get the power converters? Why do I have to
I'm
watch
not saying
Dagobah?"
Luke
That
was
was the
whiny. I'm talking
original
about Kylo
trilogy.
Ren. Kylo Ren that was whiny.
Oh, you're
not
talking about Kylo Ren? I thought you were talking about Luke.
yes,
Okay, Kylo Ren is whiny?
yes.
What? Really? When? Give me
I'm
an
not saying
example.
that's a bad character. Like, he
Well,
just
what do you
mopes
what?
around. I'm saying
So
he's
did
not as
Darth
whiny as
Vader.
Hayden Christensen in Attack of the Clones. Like
He's okay.
Okay, so
I'm
here's
gonna
my
start by the
here's
Luke thing.
having
Can I
trouble
start the Luke
communicating,
thing?
guys. So I apologize.
all right. Here's my
Uh,
compromise. All right, I'm
Wait,
gonna
no. I want to say my Luke thing.
okay.
Because he said that Luke, like, all of a sudden became mopey. Or do you recall the flashback where Kylo Ren, he tries to kill Kylo Ren with tears in his eyes. Then Kylo Ren wakes up. He can't kill Kylo Ren. And then he destroys the whole temple. He tries to kill an innocent kid. That innocent kid destroys all the things he's worked for in the past 3 films, not to mention plus 30 years or whatever. Then he exiles himself. He spends years upon years in exile. How dare you don't think that kind of absolute failure and loss is not you think that he would just be happy old Luke. That's not how he was characterized. If he just came up and he was all happy, then what is the meaning of losing all the things he's worked towards for the past 3 films
Kind of
and plus
misinterpreted it.
30 years? What?
Why? That's not what I'm talking about. Why would he go to his what's it called, nephew? One bad dark side thing, want to kill him. Like even if he had reluctance, throughout all the comics, all the books, all the movies, he is known to be like a relatable person. And if he like has empathy, like in the comics, through the comics, the books, the movies, all of a sudden
Yeah.
he just loses that empathy. Even though he had struggles with the dark side when he was young. We see this in the original trilogy. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, he used the dark side to defeat Darth Vader. All of a sudden, he sees his nephew. The first time he's ever seen his nephew had dark side tendencies. He
Mhm.
all of a sudden wants to kill him. Like Luke would try to do something about it. Like he's awake. It doesn't match up with him in the comics and the books and the movies at all. I recognize the fact that he would be mopey if he was on the island. Like the whole thing about attempting to kill Kylo Ren in his sleep just doesn't make any sense.
No. See,
Hasn't
the
thought
thing
about
you
it at
don't
all.
understand is it's not because of his empathy. Well, first off, he hesitates because of his empathy. That's where it seeps in. He didn't kill Kylo Ren. That would show that he has no empathy. His action of trying to kill Kylo Ren was out of fear. That is the idea. He was so scared. You don't. He was a dyad of Force individuals like has never seen before. Kind of like when what's his face? Liam Neeson finds Anakin when he first. It's shocking to see someone with that much force power, and to think that kind of he could restart the whole entire galactic civil war, which he does, by the way. Like that idea. I mean, we've seen in the past Jedi's can see the future. We've seen in the past that Jedi, like, what if you see that your nephew kills your best friend in the whole world? He has power unlike you've ever seen, and you have the chance to kill him right then and there. It's the baby Hitler situation. If you had the chance to kill baby Hitler, there's 2 moral thought. You could kill him and save a bunch of people, or you could not kill him because it's immoral to kill him, and you could have empathy for a baby. That's exactly what happens. You can see his empathy in that scene. That's why he hesitates. That's why he doesn't kill him. He had the chance to kill him, but he chose not to. That's the whole point.
All right, so I think
Beach.
so on the
Sure.
spreadsheet, by the
Good.
way, because of your guys'
Right.
points, I was originally gonna put Last Jedi below Solo, but instead, because of like the points you guys are making, I put Rogue One at 6 and The Last Jedi at 7.
Okay, so I'll explain why I have Attack of the Clones at 6 then, because we haven't really gotten to that. Yes, I recognize as a movie, it's not that good. No one's denying that at all. Obviously, like if you watch it, doesn't take that long to realize that it was kind of rushed. I can't tell. I just personally enjoy it. Just fun for me to watch.
All right.
That's it. It's the only
All right.
reason.
Well
It's
then,
okay if you
Literally it.
personally enjoy it, but like if everyone else hates it, then it's probably generally hated.
all right. Well then,
I'm not
number
denying that it's generally hated. I personally like it. This is our personal list. Don't forget.
I say we go to number
Like,
5.
yeah.
Okay.
Alright.
Number 5.
Ready?
Alright.
Number 5. Ben has
Put
put
Rogue One.
Return of the Jedi. Will has put The Force Awakens, and Elias has now put Rogue One.
The reason, The Force Awakens is a very I like the movie a lot. It's definitely my favorite the freaking sequel movie. But the reason I have it not freaking up there in the top is because I like it's a good movie. It's not hard to deny. Of course, like Ben said, every movie could parts be taken out of and it'd be better. But I just feel like that the other movies that are left, I feel like are just better than The Force Awakens. Like that's
Okay.
like that's pretty much the only reason why I just like it's a good movie, but it's just not as good as the other 4 that are left.
I personally like. Yeah, well, I think the whole point of the characters is not to be that like. They were supposed to be disposable. They weren't really supposed to like form a connection with them. Really, I actually thought like they did a good job with made a really good job. Like this is supposed to be a war movie almost. Star Wars war movie. I feel like it's the Star Wars movie that feels most realistic to war. You know, everyone goes on a mission and comes back alive. Sometimes no one comes back alive. Yes, sure. The first and second sequence may have been a little slow. I feel like ending was worth it.
So first, I will go offensive here. Rogue One. I'm sorry, Liz. I'm gonna have to tear apart your argument real quick. Rogue One, you agree that the first 2 parts are slow. It's not only slow, it's actively subtracting from the rest of the plot. And the idea that characters are meant to feel disposable, that takes away from the idea of character development. They're not supposed to feel disposable. They're supposed to feel like human beings so that when they die at the end, you actually feel sad about it. Like if you make characters to feel disposable, then why do you care at the end when they all die? I agree that it's a great war movie, but only for the very last third of the movie. And again, you can't judge a whole movie on the last third of the movie. You have to judge the movie as a whole. And I still think that you had the glow from the last part of the movie when you left the theater because, I mean, frankly, I bet you can't remember much from the original. Like, what? Name a scene from the start of that isn't the very beginning of the movie or the very end of. Like, it's not. That was a hypothetical. Don't actually do that. But
okay, sure. Okay. I have to say, K2SO's death is pretty hard, man.
Yeah, but he also he does that stupid thing where he's like, I'm just gonna stand in this breaking structure because I'm the mentor character. Oh no.
I just personally enjoy it more. It doesn't have to be about the movies.
I
this
agree,
is about
but
quality. If this
I
is
really
about
like
quality
it.
of movie,
But it's not a
quality
good
of
movie.
The Clones of Phantom Menace would be below up. This is about my personal enjoyment, not my.
Well, for
quality of the
me
film.
personally, it's about the quality of the movie, and so my argument is that it's a low quality movie. It's okay if you enjoy it, but it's not a high quality movie. We can agree. And then when it comes to Return of the Jedi, it's the last of the original trilogy. Everything between Luke, Darth Vader, and the Emperor is great. I also like the Han and Leia stuff but that's mostly because of the first 2 setting up such a fantastic dynamic. But there's so many overlooked terrible aspects of that film. Declan, you remember Jar Jar Binks, right? You hated him, right?
So for context,
So,
hold on, I
before-
want to context the podcast real quick because I didn't know Star Wars that much. I came in loving Jar Jar Binks. After I saw the prequels, I hated his guts. Every time he would appear on the screen, I yelled, "And why is he not off the screen?"
Yeah, it's pretty
So,
horrible.
the original Jar Jar Binks, the
me.
reason that Lucas added Jar Jar Binks is so he could appeal to children, which was an utter failure. The original Jar Jar Binks was in Return of the Jedi. There's something called an Ewok. An Ewok are walking teddy bears, and they. Declan doesn't know.
I know what Ewoks are. We played Ewoks.
Oh wait, yeah, because they added ugly CGI blinks. They defeated the Empire, made them look like a puppet state just because of how easily they were defeated by a bunch of teddy bears with their arcade. Like they barely shot their blasters. They just sat there waiting for 2 logs to hit. Like it was such a terrible way to defeat the army. And then the idea is that just there are millions and millions of ships and like all this stuff, and they already defeated one Death Star. But you know what? When they defeat the second Death Star, that's a W for the rebels right there. That's the win right there. Not to mention that the opening scene, though it is fun, Luke's plan makes absolutely dog shit sense. Like,
Doesn't
okay,
it doesn't make any sense.
I'm gonna
I
explain
agree
you
with
this plan, okay? He sends in Lando undercover. He does nothing the whole time. He sends in... This is to rescue Han. Then he sends in R2-D2 and C-3PO, and they say that they're gifts to Jabba the Hutt, and they get captured. Because duh. And then Leia comes in, fails to rescue Han. Then Luke comes in with his lightsaber, doesn't threaten Jabba, he just says, hey, we should talk about this. Gets stuck in a freaking pit with a giant monster, doesn't pull out his lightsaber, and just fights it with a door. Literally a door. He just waits for the monster to come forward, and then uses a door as though it's a fucking Lego level. And then he just fucking comes back up out of this little tube. There's this fat, chubby guy who runs up to the dead monster and is like, no! And then they go into the ship, and Boba Fett, the absolute coolest character in the OT trilogy, you can at me on that.
It's why he plays it in Battlefront.
Blind. Okay. Han Solo's blind. He bumps him on the back. His jetpack malfunctions. You hear a little as he flies out into a fucking Sarlacc pit and dies through 1,000 years of digestion. That is the worst use of a character. Y'all saying that Last Jedi is the worst use of a character. They introduce this fantastic, amazing bounty hunter, and then he's just like dead in the next scene. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Anyways, I digress.
Not to mention, another thing that didn't make the plan make sense is he put his lightsaber in R2-D2.
Yeah.
Before R2-D2 went
Alright.
into the palace. Like,
Okay.
For everyone to be captured.
For
Yeah,
those
Yeah.
for those reasons, I'm debating between the Return of the Jedi and the Force Awakens. I put Return of the Jedi there for now. Because
Okay.
of Ben's points. I'm gonna keep a Rogue One at 6 because, like you guys said, you guys liked it for the ending, but it's not good, but it's not great. It's not good, but it's not. Oh no, okay, sorry. It's not great, but it's not horrible. So it's like dead middle. At least that's how I see it. All right.
Okay.
Number
Should we move
4.
on?
So Ben's Force
Okay.
Awakens.
Okay.
Will and Elias have said Return of the Jedi.
I think that Return of the Jedi is a great film. That's no secret. I think that it's a worse film than Force Awakens, and here's why. First off, I've said why Return of the Jedi has so many flaws, whereas Force Awakens was clearly made for a modern audience because it doesn't slog. The comedy can be flawed, but there were some really funny moments. I think Kylo Ren was done pretty great. I think that he's one of the better villains in all of Star Wars, for that matter. I think he's actually done really well in that movie. I think that I get the whole Rey is Mary Sue, but if you ignore that from a narrative perspective, the scenes that she's in are just really cool. Also, that thing where people say how she couldn't do the maneuvers in the Millennium Falcon. She was obviously playing second fiddle to Chewbacca. I don't understand that argument. Then, of course, I think that this is the movie where Finn shines the brightest, clearly, because Finn is done perfectly. He sees the grimes of war. He leaves, and I think Poe's done great. I think that
Pose.
the narrative is Poe is doing great. I think that I think it's just greatly done, honestly. I don't see very many flaws with it, and I enjoyed it the whole way through. I think that Han Solo was done great. I think that his death felt meaningful, and I get the argument where it was the thing with Han Solo is that he has to have gone back to smuggling, and I get that doesn't make any sense, but I also think that people really underestimate the pain of having your son betray you. But whatever, that's besides the point. I think it's a great film.
The thing about Han is I also really enjoyed the whole Han thing, and I know a lot of people are really mad that they killed him off. Like that was
Yeah,
gonna happen
they
anyway
needed to
because
kill him off.
Harrison Ford wanted out. Like
Yeah.
just forced him.
Also, that's why Rise of Skywalker wasn't
Really.
as good a movie, because like they didn't kill off any character. Like, you need to kill off characters, or else there's no
Yeah, I
narratives
felt
to be
the
had.
Rise of Skywalker. Like, every time they made a bold decision, they kind of just did it. Same with like the whole Chewbacca death thing.
Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
talking about like the entire movie. I'm saying that
Okay.
I like the Rise of Skywalker. I think it's a good movie.
Yeah,
I think
I
the
like
whole
it too.
Chewbacca death thing.
Yeah, that was
Yes,
not in
let's-
Rise of Skywalker. That was in. Oh wait, no, it was. Never mind. I was
in
thinking
Rise
of Last
Skywalker. The whole
Jedi. I
thing
don't
when
know
she
why.
blew up the transport. I felt like
Okay, whatever.
it could
You
have
make your
been
argument.
more.
Why do you think Return of the Jedi is a great movie?
Yeah. The reason why it's in 4 is the same reason you put it in 5. I just personally, I
Why
love
do you
the
think it's
ending with
better than
Darth
Force
Vader
Awakens, though?
because it's like, it's logic. That's not the big reason. That's one reason. Yes, I agreed. The whole beginning was kind of a little sus, and the ending could have been a little better. The whole correlate, the whole like, I can't speak English, dude. The whole correlation between Darth Vader and Luke, I felt was one of the best things in all of Star Wars. Like, ending is really meaningful, and yes, I understand that some people get ticked off at the whole special edition editing stuff. Personally, I don't think it takes much away from like whole taking the mask off. I thought it was
Okay.
the whole thing with Palpatine was really great. Yes, sure, Death Star 2 was kind of uncreative. Like, what are you gonna do? My reason.
I mean, you could make
I
a
don't
new
know Will's
movie
reason.
with new characters
Yeah,
where you have.
what's Will's reason?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
we
move on.
could,
I'm
but-
gonna put The Force Awakens just because my main reason for why I say Force Awakens is number 4 is because Will made an argument that like Force Awakens is great. That's one of the movies I've seen. Personally think it's great, but like I've heard of like the other 3 movies, but I don't think those are better than Force Awakens. Like I'm making the argument that Will
Okay.
made. It's a great
Yeah,
movie,
wait,
but it's not
okay.
better
Force
than the other
Awakens is
3.
the best.
No, I say it's
Oh,
it's
okay,
not better
Sorry.
than the
Yeah,
3
no,
movies coming
okay.
out.
Okay.
So that's
You
my
guys ready
reason for
for the next one?
Yeah, I think realistically, I think I would put next time I do something like this, I think I'd put Force Awakens higher than Attack of the Clones. Honestly, look back at that, it's kind of weird.
And you'd put The Last Jedi as number 1, I guess.
No, I would not. I would.
Best movie.
Oh no, I'm
No.
sorry. I'm still not convinced. Like you might have semi like opened my eyes a little, but to me it's still my least
All
favorite.
right, number
I'm
3.
not saying it's the best
About
movie
that.
either. I put
I know.
it straight in the middle. Like, it's not the best movie, but it's way better than
Move on to
Last.
number 3.
I'll tell
Let's
you
just
that
move on
much.
to number 3.
Okay.
Number
Okay.
3.
Oh, damn.
Let's see. Now, for people at home, the last 3 movies that I assume it's gonna be is Empire Strikes Back, Revenge of the Sith, and A New Hope.
All right, that's the only 3 left, so they probably already knew that, Declan.
Oh,
Yeah,
everyone's A New Hope?
That's just okay. I'll say.
Simply stated, New Hope is great. Doesn't hold up that well. Great
Yeah.
movie. Cool. Great.
It's
cool.
the original. It's
Yeah, it's fantastic.
awesome. That's it. So many memorable scenes. The whole Death Star run. The whole
Yeah.
scene we're looking out in the sunsets. Just great.
It's real
Alright.
famous.
Moving on.
Okay.
Number 2.
Second movie, boys. The top 3 movies are all like the best movies ever. Like, it's just impossible.
It's actually kind of difficult. Last 2 movies on top of each other. I personally like. If I was usually when people say my favorite, I usually like to say The Empire Strikes Back and Revenge of the Sith. And kind of putting one below the other or one on top of the other is kind of difficult for me. But reason, yeah, but I can't. There's really nothing bad about The Empire Strikes Back. It's the best movies in all of cinema history, in my opinion. I'm pretty sure in everyone's opinion, actually. I don't know anyone who doesn't like The Empire Strikes Back. I don't really have. I'll get to the reason I put Revenge of the Sith above.
The reason why I'm laughing in
when you get there.
context, Ben just
But,
copy and pasted The Last Jedi as the last is number 1.
why, man?
Best
Okay.
movie. Best
Um,
movie.
Yeah, so obviously, I Am Your Father. Right? Lightsaber duel. Sure, it was slow, but like it was tension. It was great. Felt Han, best romance in all of Star Wars, movie making wise. Great. Just felt like the entire movie is good. And I'm guys can't deny that either, because obviously we both have it in our top 3. All of us have it, so that's my
Yeah.
reason.
I just filled out the list because, like, Ow. Here's my thing, right?
Well,
Let's say hypothetically, Revenge of the Sith is the perfect movie, right? That's why you're probably putting it at
Wait a
number 1, I
second.
imagine. I was wondering how long it would take you. I put Phantom Menace as number 1. Okay, but let's say hypothetically
number
Revenge
1.
of the Sith is the perfect movie ever made. In my opinion, it's Empire Strikes Back. But let's say it's Revenge of the Sith. Here's why it's not. It's 2 words and it's a name. It's Hayden Christensen. His acting is terrible, absolutely
Can you
terrible.
remind me who he plays
The
again? 'Cause I
whole
can't
time.
remember.
He plays Anakin.
Okay.
Like, okay, I'll give you an example. The most famous line, probably in all of our heads right now, is I brought peace, freedom, security, justice, whatever, right?
No.
He delivers that line in a monotone. He doesn't have any, like, emotion throughout that entire scene. He's talking to his best friend in the world, who he's just right now betraying, and he looks at him with dead eyes. He has more emotion in his makeup than he has on his face. Like, it's actually really depressing. Like, it's so. I mean, like, he's just so. God, and also, just saying, hypothetically, if the lead-up movies are like the worst movies in all of Star Wars, I'm thinking out loud here and saying that if the setup is poor, even no matter how great the final movie is, you can't see it as a standalone. You got to see it with its predecessors. So if the predecessors aren't great, then you can't. It just doesn't seem right to put it at number 1. It's just not perfect. It's not the best Star Wars movie.
That's fair. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, it's basically like it's a really good movie. I enjoy watching it every single time, but I think yeah, like Empire Strikes Back, it's just like it was I don't even remember watching A New Hope for like the first time when I actually did watch it. I remember Empire Strikes Back because my dad like rented all the movies and we watched all of them. I barely remembered A New Hope until I watched it a second time. But Empire Strikes Back, the first time I watched it, I instantly loved it. It's just one of those, I don't know. I find it to be on another level. For me, it's just clearly above the rest. Even though for some people they're really equal, I find that Empire Strikes Back is just like on another level from all the other Star Wars movies.
I was gonna
I
say.
think that Empire Strikes Back is just the movie that every other Star Wars film has been trying to be. It is the absolute best of Star Wars, and like every other movie is trying to be what Empire Strikes Back was when it came out. It was like the best. It has every part. I can't isolate a single part of the movie I like best,
It's the
just
best
because
everything.
every aspect of the
Yeah.
movie is so above the level of every other movie.
there's
It's just
there's
kind
nothing
of
bad apart of Okay, the thing with Revenge of the Sith, I actually don't think the whole piece for you to that. Yes, I agree that delivery definitely was monotone. I actually think the worst exchange of dialogue in Revenge of the Sith was the I should have known the Jedi were taking over. I failed you, Anakin. I failed you. My point of view, the Jedi are evil. I thought that was the worst exchange of dialogue.
well, it was bad
Um,
writing. It wasn't bad acting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would agree that The Empire Strikes Back's on another level. The only reason I think Revenge of the Sith is my favorite is because Clone Wars exists, and I feel like
Because you're an
after you watch,
edgelord.
I feel like after you watch Clone Wars and watch Revenge of the Sith, there's just a lot of like great stuff.
Okay.
Honestly, again, I honestly think The Empire Strikes Back and Revenge of the Sith are equal, but choosing between the two, I have to say Revenge of the Sith only because I like the era more. Other than that, I say they're equal.
All right. So, for
That's
Ben,
they're
by the way,
great movies.
why?
There's no question about that.
So in my opinion, I was going to put Revenge of the Sith above Empire Strikes Back just because I haven't seen Empire Strikes Back. But then I remembered Anakin's acting was pretty questionable, none to say the
It
least.
was questionable. It wasn't as bad as Attack of the Clones. Like Actually,
Oh,
thought you
yeah.
did a good
Well,
job.
that's-
List of Revenge of the
Okay,
Sith
now
movies.
you're taking shots at your own list.
So because of that, I
I'm
have
taking
put
shots at
Empire
your own
Strike
list.
Back
Hey.
ahead of Revenge of the Sith. So, yes.
I'm actually looking forward to showing you that one, Declan. I'm pretty sure that's gonna be a fun
Yeah,
time.
I am as well.
it's
Dude, Empire
great.
Strikes Back is so good.
Okay, so by the way, apparently Empire Strikes Back is Will's worst movie, but
I didn't know you hated the best Star Wars movies so much, right?
so for a recap for the podcast, my list from the worst to the best. Worst is The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Solo, The Rise of Skywalker, Last Jedi, Rogue One, Return of the Jedi, A Force Awakens, A New Hope, Revenge of the Sith, and Empire Strikes Back being the best Star Wars movie.
And this one isn't even
Jedi
your
is
final.
actually
'Cause you even
pronounced
haven't
Jedi.
seen half of these. You haven't even seen like most of them.
He's only seen 3. He's seen
I've
way
seen
less
5
than half
movies.
of these.
I've
You have?
never
I've
Oh,
seen
yeah.
Rogue
Oh, yeah,
One
never
and
mind.
Force Awakens.
You've watched
but so
none of
I
the
think
original.
I think you guys actually made a good point, and honestly, I'd switch Force Awakens and Attack of the Clones. You guys kind of
Okay, so
Yeah.
my point. To emphasize, I'm not saying the Empire Strikes
Wait,
Back is
stop
worse than Revenge of
switching
the
my
Sith.
freaking.
I'm not.
we
You didn't
mentioned
pay
this like
attention and I
15
won't do it.
times, Will.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree our list is definitely different, but that's what we think. Leave your list down below. Hope you guys have enjoyed the Out of Clones podcast, and maybe we'll do another one breaking Clone Wars. So yeah. Hope you guys have enjoyed Out of Clones podcast, and peace out.